Hi everyone, my name is José, I'm 26 years old and I'm from Peru. I studied economics and have been working on finance, more specifically on M&A, for the past 3.5 years. Today, I'm here with you to talk a little bit about my experience studying for the GMAT using TTP as my main and I would say my only resource. So, starting on September last year, I decided I wanted to do my MBA in the short term. I didn't know exactly when, but I knew it was something coming up in the next couple of years. So I started reading about it and I knew that the first step on the path was studying for the GMAT. After deciding that, I talked to a few friends, a few colleagues, and asked them how they approached the exam, and they named a few resources, one of them TTP, which I think was the one they mentioned the most. So after reading about TTP online and doing my own research, I decided that I would use TTP as my study resource, and I just started with the process. So the first few months were a bit tough. I had lots of work, I had my routine, lots of activities, and finding the right time to study for the GMAT was a bit difficult. But I would say that starting around December, I changed my mindset, and I decided that I would start putting more priority on the GMAT, that I would start studying on a more disciplined fashion, and I started studying much more. So what I did was I basically followed the TTP study plan. I really value that TTP has designed a really structured and step-by-step study guide where you basically do theory exercises, then you do chapter exercises, and you start moving in a really ordered manner until you basically end the course and start doing the practice tests. So I would say by March, I was roughly about 65% of the way. I felt I was still a bit far from the exam, but I knew I had to rush a little bit the final phase. So I studied really hard during March, and the start of April, I did my first mock after finishing the full TTP course, and I got a 685. I was quite glad with that grade. So I decided to rush my GMAT, which knowing now, I know was a bit of a mistake. I didn't do as great as my mocks. I got a 655, which I know is a very good grade, but I thought that I could do a bit better and increase my score a few grades. So between April and May, I studied a bit more. I used TTP very much for the practice tests, the custom tests, specifically the Quant ones. I really valued them because in my first GMAT I underperformed on the Quant section, which I thought was my strongest one, but well, I didn't have a great day and I felt I rushed this final phase. TTP advises you to spend about a month on the preparation phase, the practice test phase, and I simply rushed. So I decided to follow TTP's step-by-step guide at the end, and by doing so, by mid-May, I did my second GMAT. I did very well. I got a 725, which I'm really glad about. And basically, that ended my GMAT preparation and exam phase. So, talking a little bit about TTP, I valued a few things very much. The first one was that it was a really structured course, as I mentioned earlier in the video. TTP basically gives you a step-by-step guide on how to study. So basically, you start with the quant and verbal chapters, and you do them in an altered way, so you do basically one each, which really helps you like start learning the theory and practicing exercises in both, and not just focusing on one of them and then moving on to the next one. So I felt that was really simple for me. It made my life easier. I didn't have to worry when I wanted to study quant, when to study verbal, when to study data insight. So it really helped me along the way, and I would say it was one of the main reasons I got a very good grade in the GMAT. The second reason was that TTP gives you theory on everything, basically. You start from chapter 1 until chapter X, and you get really detailed explanations on each of the topics, all the way from the basic concepts, so that if you don't already know them, you can learn them there. And then basically on each page of each chapter, you get many practice exercises where you can develop your skills. You can validate that you learn the concepts taught really well, and basically by altering between theory, exercise, and so on, you really grasp all the concepts and are able to learn each step really well. Then I would say they have so many questions. I would be surprised if anyone ever completed them all. As I mentioned, you have practice exercises along the chapters, and then at the end you get easy, medium, and hard questions about all topics. So you are able to practice all types of questions on all different difficulties, and I would say that even the hard questions on TTP are harder or as hard as they get on the real test. So by doing the exercises, you are very well prepared. You get detailed explanations on how to solve each of those exercises on the platform. So I would say that if you don't know how to do one of the questions, you are able to see a video or read the explanation and really understand the concepts that you need to learn. Then I really appreciated the final part of the course, where you get the practice test phase. Basically, you are told that you should do the official practice tests. There are up to 6 of them, and you can repeat them up to twice each, I believe. And that really helps you start practicing for test day. So after doing like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, you are able to combine all concepts and sit a real GMAT. It's basically a real mock. And after doing them, you can get back to TTP, review your results. They tell you what you did well, what you didn't did so good on, and they prepare you some custom tests so that you can review these concepts and really learn them fully. Finally, I would say TTP was my basically only resource. I just used TTP and the official practice tests, and I would say that it covered all the necessary points that I had to learn for the test and even more. I felt really prepared on test day, and feel that I couldn't have done any better, and I'm really grateful for the course. So, some final thoughts and tips. First of all, I would recommend starting early. If you know that you have to present your grade in specific time periods, start early. If you can start 1 year or more in advance, I would recommend doing so that you don't have to rush your studying by the end and maybe don't get to your target or your potential grade. Then I would say that at the start of the preparation phase, you should focus on learning. You need to understand everything, not rush exercises, not just get some exercises and move on. If you get a question wrong, review it, see why you did wrong, check if there are any simpler methods to solve the question, and then move on. Then I would say when you're reaching the end of the preparation phase, you should focus on speed. The GMAT, I would say, is a speed exam. It basically measures if you're able to solve some questions on a really fast way. But I would say if you do the TTP course, do the practice exercises and follow their step-by-step guide, there shouldn't be any problem with it. They give you lots of tips, lots of shortcuts on how to approach questions, and they are really, 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 really helpful. Finally, I would say trust the process, believe in yourself, believe in TTP. It's a really great course. There are lots of experts and teachers that I couldn't even enjoy to the maximum potential. I used many TTP features, but they have so many that I didn't even test all of them. And I would say that if you do so, there's no reason why you aren't able to get your GMAT potential grade and even better. So finally, I would say focus on the studying, trust yourselves, enjoy the process. It's a long process, it's challenging, but it's really rewarding at the end. And good luck with the process. Feel free to talk to me if you have any questions, and glad to help you with this video. Bye.